I'm a woman. I can't do this. Oh, they won't like me. I'm ugly. Look, I have a pimple. Look at my wrinkles. I'm stuck. I don't deserve it. I should stay home so no one sees me. I can't get dressed. I can't decide what to wear. No, I'm not worthy. I don't deserve this. I can't get dressed. Can't decide what to wear. No, I'm going back to bed. I can't. I am not worthy. You aren't gorgeous. I'm a magnet to good things. You are successful. You can do this. You deserve this. You're a leader. You're worthy. You are kind and generous. I am abundant to all that I do. I can change anything, and I can do this. With Empowered in Heels.
Hi everyone. Hello, I'm Suzy Tamasy, your host on TV Chaar for our newest exciting show called Empowered in Heels, where we talk about everyday woman topics, and we want to inspire women, support, and empower women. Let me tell you a bit about myself. I'm a woman entrepreneur. I've been an entrepreneur for 10 years. I have a clothing line called Suzy Q Jewels, in which we represent empowerment in women. So we empower women with fashion. I am a designer, a promoter on my platform for other entrepreneurs in fashion. And we also consult for fashion industries that are starting out. So we start them with our platform. I'm also a chief editor of 2 magazines, Business and Fashion and Empowered in Heels. And I'm so honored to be on TV Chaar with our newest show, Empowered in Heels. Thank you, TV Chaar, for having this show for women and inspiring other women and empowering them. And my true honor to have our amazing guest, Annie KOSHY, part of our second episode. She is a powerhouse woman. I truly look up to her as a dear friend and a woman entrepreneur because she is a great example of leadership and a true friend. She's modeled for my brand, Suzy Q Jewels, and she's an actor, author, and a business ninja. You will find out more about her. So, Empowered in Heels is so reflected to Annie KOSHY. Thank you, Annie, for being part of our Empowered in Heels show. Welcome you to TV Chaar.
Thank you so much. It's a pleasure to be here, Suzy, and it's a pleasure to Heima and her entire team at Studio Chaar for having me on this platform and for being your second guest on Empowered in Heels. What a powerful statement that is.
I'm truly honored, and I truly wanted to get you on as my second person because of your movie. You have a new movie out called Fear, which truly reflects on your journey, your personal journey as a bio documentary, and it reflects on women's journey itself. So I said, this is the person and the story we had to add on to Empowered in Heels. Thank you for being here today.
Absolutely, my pleasure.
So I would love to know a bit about your passion and your journey, Annie.
Right. I guess I'm passionate about life. It's not just about one thing. It's about life in general. It's about waking up every morning and feeling that you've got something new to do, something new to explore, whether it be your environment, people around you, yourself. It's a joy for living and a joy for life. And that comes out in everything that I do. So my passion, I'm very lucky right now that I'm actually able to do my hobby as my work, whether it be my photography, whether it be speaking on radio, on stage, empowering people through my work in my book and my films. I'm really, truly living the life right now that I have always dreamed I've wanted to live in terms of work. And I'm really, really happy that way. The journey has not been easy, Suzy, and you know this yourself as an entrepreneurial woman yourself, that as women, when we decide to step out of the traditional roles of what is expected or what we think is expected of us, we set a path that is not very often trod on very easily. And it means that we have to have a lot of determination and a lot of self-belief that what we want to do and our belief in what we have in our vision is stronger than the pressure to conform.
So true. This is why I was so delighted to have this show, because it's not easy as a woman. We have to carry so many hats and we multitask. Our brains are always going. Even though people think we sleep, we're never sleeping. So this is why I truly look up to you as a powerhouse of a woman, because you've done so many things. Like, you've been on radio, your voice is so well put together, like your communication skills are ultimate to high standards. And that's when I was on your radio show, I told you, you have a gorgeous voice, like you should be doing movies or shows or something. But I love what your journey is all about. Can you tell me a little bit about your movie and your bio documentary and your journey?
Absolutely. So Fear is the name of the biopic. This is my second film. The first film is called A Bloody Mess, and that's also a social awareness film. I will speak briefly about that first. So A Bloody Mess is about menstruation and opening the dialogue about menstruation. And it's a topic that still is very, very taboo or not really openly talked about in a lot of cultures and amongst families as well. So A Bloody Mess, directed by Suzy Tamasy, has made global impact, and it has actually won several awards. And so that was my first film, and my taste for being on screen began before A Bloody Mess. But a lot of directors have visions for films, and we as actors will play our role, but then what ends up happening is that sometimes those visions don't always come into fruition, and so it doesn't always come out on screen. There's a lot of work between the shooting of the part and then in screen. Fear is a biopic on my life, and Fear represents face everything and rise. There are two often in life, really, Suzy, is that when we face challenges, and every single one of us, whether you be man, child, woman, old, young, doesn't really matter. We face daily challenges. The real success is how do you face those and rise from those challenges? And what differentiates someone who goes through a similar challenge from someone else who doesn't, survive through that challenge? What are the factors, what are the components, what are the personality traits that are important in order to have them survive? Fear speaks about my journey from being raised in a traditional Indian family home in which my parents were quite conservative. They were first-generation immigrants. And growing up in a time and era where not a lot of information was available about what being Indian really meant. We migrated to North America my parents migrated in the late 60s, and at that time it was just what was out there through World Vision or some documentary with regard to needing to raise funds for the poor in India, and that was the extent of what we really knew, unless you had other connections. Even as myself, as being Indian, I had no idea what it meant to live in India. I was a diluted Indian. I was Indian on the weekend and Western on the weekdays. That was just the way it was. We were asked to fit into the rest of the community, fit into the school, fit into being Canadian. At the same time, there was a fear with my parents that if we became too Canadian, we were going to lose sense of who we were as Indian. And so our weekends and our evenings were filled with just conforming to what our church needed or wanted, and our requirements as being Malayali, who I was from South India. So I grew up with a very, very different sense of what it meant to be Indian. And the first time that I really had a good idea of what it meant was after I got married at a very young age of 21 in an arranged marriage. And a couple of years after having been married, we decided to move back to India and live there. And my partner at the time was from India, and so for him it was normal to be there. For me, my only idea of being in India was visiting with my parents. And visiting a country and living in a country are two very, very vastly different situations. And I found myself for the first time not really understanding cultural expectations that they thought that I would know because I visibly looked Indian. So if you want to talk about racism, I had reverse racism, where I felt that I was a fish completely out of water. And it was on two levels. One was I was put into a city I was living in a city that was very far removed from Toronto. Toronto being as cosmopolitan as we are, as wide open, as accepting for all different cultures and nationalities and ethnicities, colors, languages, gender orientations, is so accepting. To go to a place that was rural India, where I was seen as being very unusual. The way I spoke was unusual. The way I dressed was unusual. The way I conducted myself with both genders was unusual for a woman. And therefore, I was out of place. So that was the first thing. I didn't speak the language. I didn't have any idea of the place that I was in because it was in a different state completely. So you view India very much like being Europe, where every country has its own unique language, customs, practices, etc. Well, India is one country, but each state is unique in such a diverse way that you can consider it almost akin to being its own country. And so I come from South India in Kerala, and I was living in central India in Maharashtra. So neither did I speak the language, nor did I understand the cultural expectations, nor did I understand the conformity as a woman that I needed to do, because that was the biggest challenge for me as a woman. And Fear speaks about the challenges as a woman that I faced to just have my voice heard, whether it was through my art, whether it was through my work, whether it was being more than just a pretty face.
It's so true. I can relate in that way too. When you travel, I lived in Venezuela, and when I go back to visit, it's way different. And it's like I'm another fish in another country. It's great to be there for 1-2 weeks, but when you stay there longer, it's like there's things that you're not used to. So this is a great, inspiring story, and I love that because it really relates to the hottest topic now. But I don't want to get there. I would love to know what you're doing today. Like, how are you dealing with all this COVID that's happening unexpectedly? So many businesses have stopped and have lost. There's a lot of closure of businesses. How are you dealing with it? How can you help others deal with this?
Well, for me, I think I was in isolation well before COVID isolation occurred, and that happened when I left my marriage. And so I found myself on my own, without people around, and without any support from my family or the community or the church, and really having to take a very, very good look at who were my friends. And I put quote unquote on that because it's really when you go through the most difficult times in your life that you come to realize who truly is there just for the sake of being there and not there because they're going to gain something from you. And that was a very, very cathartic moment for me. And I really learned a lot about people around me as well as myself. So COVID-19 happening hasn't really changed my life in any way. I've always, from that point in, I think, 2017, I launched my company in 2016 and I registered it in 2017. So I was already an entrepreneur. I was starting my work in my business and starting my branding and whatnot. And so that continued to happen. COVID-19, what's happened really is that instead of me going on stage and doing workshops where I had people come to attend a workshop or come to attend one of my events, or I'm hosting an event where I've been invited to MC or host or compare that event, or where I have been photographing clients, all of that went on hold. And what I had to do was a quick pivot. And the pivot went from moving what I would have done on stage to an online platform. And since there were things already in place with my work, my book, my film, the coaching and the mentorship that I do, it wasn't such a huge burden for me to do that. I think that for myself, because my mindset is that I wake up in the morning happy, that I make sure that what I put into my space, into my supercomputer, into my brain, is very filtered. I'm very careful about the energy that I surround myself with, the people that I surround myself with, and the things that I read and allow into my space so that I'm able to ensure that it is filling me and growing my mindset. So those are the things that are very, very important that I think that have changed or helped me maintain my equilibrium through this very chaotic time. One thing, Suzy, I realize is that what we're experiencing right now is not unique just to us. The entire world has been going through chaos. The entire world is going to have an existence that will happen from pre-COVID to post-COVID. And so the survival of the fittest, which is a survival tactic that Darwin speaks about, is what is going to determine whether you're going to manage to get through this. What are some of those things that you need to be able to survive? You're going to need to be able to be resourceful. You're going to need to maybe skill yourself, retool yourself, maybe do a change in applying how you think about things, maybe having to structure your life and maybe you're used to someone else giving you structure. I always speak about in my coaching that you need to be your own GPS. You need to be your own life navigator. And why is that important? To be able to navigate through life without someone else telling you or without someone directing you is important. You set your goals. You set where you need to go. And you listen to your inner voice. So I talk about all of these things when I'm coaching and when I talk about it in my book and I talk about it in just my everyday existence, because I don't just talk about it, I live it, I believe it, I breathe it, I do it. And so I can speak from experience that this is the only way you're going to be able to get through COVID, is if you're able to change that mindset, fill it with positive thoughts, fill it with people that are going to grow you and grow your vision, and really listen to your inner voice about what it is that you want to do in life.
I so agree to that. And this is why it's so good to have a multiple business stream, because so many businesses depended on one stream and that stream shut down. At least having multiples, you can kind of adjust and tool and being resilient. And you are truly a resilient person. And please tell me about your book. What is the title of your book?
So the title is called How to Be Your Badass Self. It's using your inner energy for branding success. And so how to be your badass self, what does the term badass mean? Well, you have two options. You can look at it in a negative way as being outspoken and maybe unconventional. But then that's also quite a good thing. Being assertive as a woman is important. Being assertive as a person is important. And being unconventional, well, I can't think of anyone who's an entrepreneur or a visionary who's been conventional. The very fact that you're visionary means that you're unconventional and you're thinking out of the box.
Yeah,
and so,
I agree.
Right? If you look at your brand itself, Suzy Q Jewels, you're not just a fashion designer that does the typical, usual way of fashion. You are looking at fashion from the eyes of a woman and the eyes of a regular woman who may be tall, short, fat, skinny, medium-sized, pear-shaped, apple-shaped, whatever shape you want to call yourself. We're all women and we all are equally beautiful. It's about how fashion looks at it, right? And so my look at life is with real regard to the fact that I have this view that everyone has something beautiful within them. It's about finding that beauty and how do you enhance that and how do you bring that out. So yes, I feel strongly about the fact that there was a huge period of time in my life where I didn't have a voice. I lost sight of my voice. And my company really speaks about giving voice to the voiceless. And it's really about being able to empower people to find that inner desire, that passion, that hope within them. And then how do you translate that into a brand? How do you take your voice, which is yourself and personal, and then translate that into a mission statement? And then how do you apply color to that? And how do you then make yourself your brand ambassador? And why is that important? How do you then take that and then apply it on various social media platforms? How do you then adjust your messaging to suit platforms, right?
Yeah.
And so this entire journey through the book is looking at the you and working yourself all the way out to the external you, which is your brand representation or how you're representing your brand. And I work through all of that. So it's not a Harlequin romance. It's not a Mills and Boons. It's an actual book that has got key takeaways and learnings and teachings. It's not rocket science. All of us pretty much know this. but when it's put out in a very, very logistic and systematic manner, and there are things and systems in place in which you can actually work through concepts, it becomes very, very manageable and doable for people. So it's really going to be a hands-on guide on how you can take your vision, your voice, your personal, and make it your voice and mission external for your brand.
Awesome. See, you've touched point everything that you should be looking at right now, especially with things that are happening. You have more time to go through and gain that knowledge, gain that growth. And that would be a great tool to start with is your book. You know, there's a lot of times that we stop our own selves from moving onwards, and you need to get that mentor or that one pivoting thing that will push you to the next level so that you don't just get stuck, because it's not good to just get stuck. Then you don't grow. You always need to grow. So I'm going to have to go for a minute break, and we will be back.
I'm a woman. I can't do this. Oh, they won't like me. I'm ugly. Look, I have a pimple. Look at my wrinkles. I'm stuck. I don't deserve it. I should stay home so no one sees me. I can't get dressed. I can't decide what to wear. No, I'm not worthy. I don't deserve this. I can't get dressed, can't decide what to wear. No, I'm going back to bed. I can't. I am not worthy. To good things. You are successful. You can do this. You deserve this. You're a leader. You're worthy. You are kind and generous. I am abundant to all that I do. I can change anything, and I can do this. With Empowered in Heels.
Welcome back to TV Chaar on Empowered in Heels. I'm Suzy Tamasy, your TV host. I am so honored to have KOSHY here, a powerhouse woman that truly knows and reflects on business and empowering women itself. I have to say hello again, Annie.
Hello, Suzy. Welcome. Yeah, thank you.
Welcome back. So here is a really tricky question, and I want to know, what was your mistake, or what you can give as an advice for others that are in business that you would like to turn back or redo if you had a chance?
I think that one of the biggest things that I did was undervalue myself. And that was one of the things, is that my spirit, my heart's very generous. And I was not a woman entrepreneur. I was not a business person. I had worked in corporate. And so my initial a couple of years, I realized that I was being too generous, and that I was, because of my generosity, it was being taken advantage of, that people made the assumption that it would always be like that. And I think this is, as women, something that we need to speak about and talk about, is where and what are your parameters? Where do you expect how much you give and how much you need to receive back? And so, yes, of course, there's opportunities where I continue to give to the community when I feel that there is a situation or an event that I am equally vested in or that I feel cause for. But at the same time, I also limit how much of that I do in a year or how much of that my time is spent in those types of charitable events. Because at the end of the day, as well intentional as they are, it doesn't put food on my table. And so my priority now has changed, that I am monetizing everything that I usually do, including whether it is I'm photographing, how many photographs I provide, whether it's I'm hosting, and what's the minimum amount that will be my fees with regard to that, simply because we need to value ourselves. And when we value ourselves, other people will then find value in us. And so those are some of the things that I think as a woman that I would really think is important to realize, is that determine what your worth is and don't undervalue that worth.
So true.
Yeah.
I agree. Sometimes we put ourselves aside and we want to be that super woman or super mom or super everyone to help everyone. But at the end of the day, you really have to sit down and say, okay, what's the pros and what's the cons? What's the benefits? What's not the benefits? Where am I in this picture? Because we tend to lose ourselves totally. And until you start to center yourself and say, okay, I need to bring this and I need to be valued enough, that's when you get what you want. And another huge question would be, you mentioned that you went through an emotional roller coaster.
Yeah.
What is one thing that you would advise other women to get out of that mental health part of their lives, the emotional downfall, to bring it to a true upfall and success? Because you're a success right now. So I am so proud of you as a woman.
Thank you. One of the first things that we as women have to do is stop criticizing ourselves. We need to truly, truly love ourselves. The good, the bad, the ugly, the mornings that we're not feeling that great, the mornings that we wake up so feeling powered up, the days that we feel bloated, the days that we feel not so pretty, our bad hair days, our good hair days. You know, it's waking up every morning and really falling in love with yourself, so much so that you have this unconditional acceptance for yourself. When you unconditionally accept yourself, Suzy, then you're allowing other people to see you in your raw, authentic self. And that is when people start falling in love with you.
Oh my gosh, you gave me goosebumps because it's so related towards me. I've learned, like, I have been at the phase that I was a model, a pageant queen, and have learned to love myself for what I am and love others for what they are. It's not a competition. We don't have to be 100% perfect because we aren't. And we need to start accepting others and loving others. That's what true love is to love unconditionally yourself and others.
Absolutely. Yeah. And I think that, you know, when you get dressed up, don't dress up for someone. Get dressed up for yourself. So wear the lingerie, do the hair, get your dress. You know, someone always, when I'm on camera now, they say, oh, who are you seeing? I'm like, do I need to see someone to be looking like this? Like, really, do I? Now it's all Zoom calls and it's not half done. I'm actually in a Suzy outfit at the bottom. Oh. So I just thought it was appropriate. But what I'm saying is that you don't need to dress up for someone. You don't need to do anything for someone. The first step is to do it for yourself. And if you feel sexy and you feel happy and you feel full of yourself and happy with how you look and how you're feeling, and how even those little things make a huge difference on mindset. It's about what you know, Sleeping Beauty, is it? that looked into the mirror and she couldn't see herself. It was fuzzy. Or you've gone to the carnival where you've seen that mirror and you look at it and everyone sees a beautiful woman and you see the pear-shaped, short, stubby legged, big nose, chinned, whatever it is that it distorts you. You see a distorted version of yourself. So self-image and self-love are so, so important as women. And one of the things that is the hardest part of it is that the magazines, the images, the pictures, the rhetoric that surrounds us and continues to surround us about what is acceptable as beauty and what is acceptable as fashion continues to play havoc on young girls' minds. So my message is, fashion is what you determine as fashion. Trend is what you decide as trend. I don't decide that something out there right now, this color, this fashion, this look is what's going to be good for me. If I like it, I wear it. Otherwise, I do my own trendy thing. And I walk my own trend. When you become that person, that you have that confidence to just be yourself, you're not going to then be reliant on other people filling you with happiness, with other people determining what you feel about yourself. You're determining that yourself. So take that power back. Give yourself that power. You are the one that can change that thinking. You are the one that can change that mindset. No amount of coaching, no amount of self-help books, no amount of listening to other women or watching or trying to imitate other women is going to do that. That first step truly begins within your own heart.
So true. Like, you hit the nail by the hammer, or the hammer by the nail, whatever analogy, but it's so true. It's that confidence. If you have that confidence in yourself and you just start your day with dressing up or just putting a little bit of something and do something for you, your day goes way better. And you just shoot off that energy and vibrance, and everyone wants to come and attract to you because it's a magnet. And my clothing line is not only on looking beautiful, it's also empowering yourself and gaining that confidence. I deal with so many models, but some of them, their confidence level inside and their inner core is empty. I will not pick and choose them because I want to deal with people that are well-rounded. And if you have a good heart inside, it magnitudes your outer source. So this is what life is all about. It's not just being beautiful outside, it's being beautiful inside. And this is what this show is all about. And you've pinpointed so many great things and inspired so many other women with this show. I am so delighted to have you here, Annie. I would like to give you a thank you for spending your morning with me. I know you're a busy lady and you're the ninja. So tell me a little bit of this ninja name that you have.
Right. It was actually given to me by a team that I work with on a different business platform called Asira. And the team gave me this name because it was really with regard to how I was able to seemingly effortlessly handle multiple tasks. As women, I think that nearly all women are super women because we go from the various roles that we do, whether it's in our own career, to being maybe a partner with someone, a mother, a daughter, taking care of extended family. We do so many different roles effortlessly, it seems, right? And we're ultimate multitaskers. And so I just was able to do a lot of things in a very, very seemingly effortless way. And it was considered that my skills. So ninja, what someone in feudal Japan would have called a ninja, was someone who had extraordinary skills. They had skills in multiple areas and almost like they were otherworldly, like they were not human, and yet at the same time they just were able to hone some of those skills to a point where they seemed to be supernatural or powerful. I have the ability to multitask that not many people have that ability to do. I work both in front of the camera as well as behind the camera, hold numerous senior positions in several organizations, and am I'm quite responsive when people write to me or text me. I write back right away. I deal with issues right away. It's about being able to schedule my time to be the most productive. So I wake up in the morning and nearly every half hour of my day is scheduled for something, including my times that I rest or eat or I'm off. I just manage my time really, really, really well. And so it's not about time management more than self-management. And it's a system that I've learned from one of my mentors is how do you manage the time that you have? How do you manage yourself in that time? You can't stop time. And so being ninja is a combination of multiple things that I've spoken about, which is about confidence. It's about being able to have inner balance. It's about being able to pivot and change. It's about having the ability to have those direct conversations and be a good communicator. So these are some of the components that make me ninja-like. And it's about being an effective leader. And being an effective leader, Suzy, whether you're in fashion, myself in media, is not about standing up in front of people and dictating terms and saying, do this, do that. It's really about being grassroots and getting right down onto the grassroots level and showing through action. It's about being demonstrative in how you expect behavior, because when you do it, then others will do it with you. And then the next step really is to hand or pass on that baton of leadership. And so you're enabling other women. So my passion is to enable other women to become leaders, to become that strong voice, to become and find their voice, so that they themselves will nurture other people and pass on that baton of leadership. When you do that, you're empowering the women around you, but then you're surrounding yourself with a clan, a tribe, a group of people that have that same thinking. And you can hear it in my voice. The passion with which I speak about this is what drives me with what I do.
I so agree. That's what I do with Suzy Q Jewels. I empower the girls that I work with. I want them to hold that legacy. So if anything ever occurred, I would leave that, and hopefully that will trickle through and someone will pick up and take Suzy Q Jewels and take it wherever they want to and whatever. But anyways, I would love to thank you for being part of TV Chaar and our second episode of Empowered in Heels. I'm truly honored, and what a great show. Wow, I'm gonna have to go through this again because you gave amazing tips on that. So I would love to invite you all to come and see our next episode, and thank you TV Chaar for having us here on Empowered in Heels. So this program is to support all women and empower them to the next level with great topics, weekly topics, to cover all issues. So thank you, Annie, for being our guest.
Thank you. Thank you to you, Suzy.
Thank you, everyone. Have a great day. And continue with Empowered in Heels.
I'm a woman. I can't do this. Oh, they won't like me. I'm ugly. Look, I have a pimple. Look at my wrinkles. I'm stuck. I don't deserve it. I should stay home so no one sees me. I can't get dressed. I can't decide what to wear. No, I'm not worthy. I don't deserve this. I can't get dressed. Can't decide what to wear. No, I'm going back to bed. I can't. I am not worthy. You are gorgeous. I'm a magnet to good things. You are successful. You can do this. You deserve this. You're a leader. You're worthy. You are kind. kind, and generous. I am abundant to all that I do. I can change anything, and I can do this. With Empowered in Heels.